Thank you, Debbie. I'm going to try that.
Oh, good.
You know, I haven't given this talk in a long time, so I know however it comes out, it'll be perfect.
Worked for me.
Sure did.
Ah. I think I'll start with Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote. Real power is using strength to uplift others and build a just world. True power isn't about force or dominance, but about using our inner strength compassionately to support and elevate others. Have an amazing day. Yeah. So as I mentioned, strength is located here in our back. And what I love about the 12 powers, if for anybody that thinks of the chakras, these are tools in which we can actually call upon ourselves. Because I think what Martin Luther King was alluding to throughout that speech, and in many of when I have read The Beloved Community by Martin Luther King, or a lot of his influence was in that book, it's not about us using force in the world. It's about us being strength within ourselves for what it is we stand for in the world. So whether it's peace or love or kindness or joy or community or oneness, that has to be cultivated in here, not out there. It actually has to be called upon in here. And through us being that, through us demonstrating and being that in the world, our beingness, we then influence others around us. And we also repel people that aren't in line with that. Has anybody seen that in your life as you've reorganized your consciousness into a spiritual awakening and strengthened that? Some people fall away that maybe just can't relate to that, and that's fine. And maybe you can't relate to them anymore. It's like there's a conversation that you don't know what to say to each other. And there's nothing the matter with that. That's just what happens as we begin to shift and change who we are. Right? As we begin to dig in and go, you know what? I stand for something different than I used to stand for. And what's beautiful is that we can each do that. I was listening to Thomas Campbell recently on, for anybody that knows of my big toe, my big theory of everything. He's a physicist, quantum physics guy, and he said that consciousness is the back of everything. So everything begins in consciousness. And what consciousness is, he defined it very simply as awareness with choice. Awareness with choice. That tells me that we get to choose, that everything comes from that place first. And you know what I loved about that is knowing Charles Fillmore, a lot of his works, he referred to divine order as the first law of the universe. The first law of the universe is order. And then listening to Thomas Campbell, how do we get to order? Love. That's how we get to order. Because we're either in love or we're in fear. Fear creates isolation. Fear creates separateness. Fear creates me against them, you against them, us against them. And unfortunately, when we're split apart like that, what happens? Chaos. Nobody's working together. Nobody's looking at something from a whole perspective. And that's entropy, right? The decline to chaos is entropy. And the way to remove entropy is to actually bring in love. And love we define in unity as one of our 12 powers. What is love? The power to harmonize. The power to create harmony. So if you think about it, if we start here and create that harmony, that love within ourselves, and we stand for that, and we're always remembering that that's who we are, doesn't it make sense? And then that would actually permeate out from us. And then we can bring that hopefully to others. And then they might also begin to act and respond in that way. And we can actually this is maybe the only time we want codependence, but we can actually cooperate together to create more love and harmony in the world. And so when we think about our 12 powers, that's the spiritualness of them. So the power of strength is to call upon that in those moments when maybe we don't feel our best, when we don't feel our strongest, when we're maybe on the edge of losing it. Anybody been there? You know, fly off the handle like that? It's going to happen, right? And maybe we can learn to catch it really quickly and bring ourselves back to that place of love. So really, the strength to love is the remembering and the process, and also having the practices to remind ourselves of what we're doing. Anybody here do mantras? Right? All the time, self-talk, right? It's reframing, working our own consciousness. How often telling other people how they should live their lives, how well has that worked in your experience? I keep trying. It just never works. But turn that inward and begin to work on yourself. You know, 2012, I started a morning mantra that began with, I am calm and spiritual. That was the opening line of it. And I did it every day for years, not months, years. And then I became a unity minister, which was not in my plan. But when I look back to how I was conversing with myself, what I was calling forth in myself, I could see like, oh, that actually makes sense. I was working on being a better version of myself, a more grounded, spiritual, loving human being, because there were parts about myself I didn't really care for. And then to suddenly wake up one day and come to Unity and back in our old place and see Reverend Patricia talk, and then 6 months later go, I think maybe perhaps I might need to do what you're doing. How could I do that? And which was a shock to me, but then when I look at it, it's not that shocking, because I was actually building up a perception and a way of being within myself that led me to that door, that led me to that opening. And you know, when I did seminary, and I was working on Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, one of my work projects, one of my projects for one of my classes was I had to go through all of Charles and Myrtle's Fillmore, their material, and find every time they use the term Holy Spirit. And try to get a sense of what that was. And it rang very much with A Course in Miracles, Holy Spirit, which is that, you know, I wasn't really a spiritual person. At some point in my life I was telling somebody this morning that there was a brief 18-month period in my life when I was a teenager that I decided in grade 10, I want to be an altar boy at my parents' church. And I did that for about 18 months, and then I still got to the place where, like, I don't get it. And so I stopped doing that, I stopped going, and I never walked into a church again until I came to Unity. But what I realized was that as soon as I cracked open the door just a little bit for that spiritualness to show up, it was like whoosh. It all flooded in and began to push my life in a direction that has led me to this moment, to being here right now with all of you, that I'm so incredibly grateful for. And so calling on ourselves to be a better version of ourselves, calling on ourselves to be love, as most of our songs have been about this morning, this idea of love. And I really think that that's what Martin Luther King was talking about in his beloved community, is to be in a place of love. And love has that ability to transform who we are and others around us. You know, have you ever been in those arguments where you're just yelling at each other? Nobody's listening? Yeah. See, love would pause and start to listen. Love would actually remove itself from the heightened experience of the argument to see, how could I actually listen here? How could I soften here? What can I do? Instead of demanding of yourself that I need to be right. That's another one. Anybody live there? I am going to be right. Yeah. But see, love doesn't want to do that. Love actually wants to work together and harmonize together and get us back to a place where we can have order and peace with one another, order within ourselves, right? Having our thoughts be orderly, our actions be orderly. And of course, order is also one of our 12 powers. It's actually here. So we have heart, we have the love right here in our heart space, right? The great harmonizer. We have order here, we have strength here. And so when you think about it, it's like order is the cross-section between strength and love. So when we apply strength to love and we apply love to strength, what do we get? We get order. And we begin to live our lives in a place of peaceful balance. Who would like more balance in their life? Yeah. And it's available to us, but it requires a little bit more of ourselves, right? It requires something within ourselves to do that. For me, it looks like daily prayer and meditation. It looks like reading and watching things that bring that to my life. So I'm not somebody that sits around and watches the news. You know that, I've shared this before, reads the newspaper. My day job is in the finance world, so I read enough in the finance world to get a sense of what's going on in the world, but I can't watch the news. Why? Because it doesn't do me any good for who I want to be in the world. It gets me anxious and triggered and angry and upset. So I don't want to do that. I would just as soon watch the monks walk all day long. If I'm going to watch news, I'll watch that. That seems pretty cool. And on a side note, have you noticed their pace? Like, they're cruising. And they're the determination, which was our word today, was it not? Yeah. I'm fascinated by that. And you know what else I'm fascinated by? Is the amount of people that show up for that. So what do I see when I see that? This is my perception. This is my filter. When I see that, I go, oh, so you mean if I make a stand in the world for peace and love quietly, not even like voicing it, but just being in action that says, this is what I stand for, people will show up for that? So what does that tell us? That it starts here, that we need to be that in our daily lives. And by doing that, what do? We give permission to others, for others to do the same thing, right? To be that in their life. You know, some people are afraid to do something different, to stand out. And it's sometimes that seeing you be that stand is actually enough for them to take a step in that direction, right? To follow that lead. Because a lot of people don't want to stand out. They don't want to look like they don't belong. Belonging is really important to us as humans. So when you can find a place where you can belong, and it's like-mindedness, and there's a same sort of energy and frequency of love and peace, that's enough to move you into that direction and to make a stand and be there and support that. And then the other stuff starts to fall away. So strength without love becomes rigid, and love without strength can become ineffective or simply sentimental. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice thing. Isn't that nice? Oh, they're so nice. I wish I was that nice. I'm not going to do anything about it, but it would be great if I was that nice. So our spiritual work is to blend courage with compassion, love with strength, right? To dig in and see, how can I be a voice for peace and love in the world without yelling, without screaming. And maybe sometimes that might have to happen. I don't know. You know, I have a friend of mine who I speak with every Friday, and when I talk like this, he'll challenge me. And he'll usually challenge me with something completely to the far extreme, like somebody is going to murder my children. Then how peaceful and loving would I be? And that's a really great question. And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I'm pretty sure I would be pretty triggered and not thinking about, how can I love this person? But that's not the point. I'm not facing that right now in my life. So I don't have to worry about that. What I actually have to focus on is right where I am and right what I'm doing right now and being that presence for myself first. It's like that airplane, right? What do you do with the mask? Put it on you first. It's the same thing here. We need to address that for ourselves first. And then maybe that leaks out to others in our community. Along with that comes the ability to forgive. And forgiveness is not giving in or losing. It is actually an act of profound inner power to forgive, to willingly forgive. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily forget. It's not saying that, oh, what you did is fine. It's actually forgiving so that you can get back to where you are and let that go. Leave it where it belongs. And where do these things belong? Anybody? In the past, right? These things that happened in the past, where do they belong? They belong in the past. So really what we want to do is work on leaving it there. And forgiveness and love are they're like quintessential to that, to leaving this stuff behind us and moving into the present moment and having the ability to create community and love outside of ourselves by our example and by where we stand. And finally, let's talk about that oneness. What did I write here? Oneness isn't a nice slogan. It's the capacity to see the divine in others even when they oppose us. Injustice anywhere, including within our own thoughts and small actions, is a threat to justice everywhere. And so what does that say? What I read in that for myself is that if I'm not operating in that alignment, I'm talking about peace and I'm talking about love, but if I'm actually not peace and love myself, there's injustice. And all I am doing is actually creating more injustice in the world. So it needs to begin with me. It needs to begin with you. If that's what you want to see in the world, that's where it starts. It doesn't start out there. There's no sense in finger pointing at other people. It starts with us. We need to be that in the world.